Hi guys, welcome back here to the dev realm, and today we're going to be talking about data assets, right? Data tables actually. So how can you use them, how can you implement on your game, and why they are for. Right, so if you have no idea what's the concept, just stick with the lesson. It's going to be very helpful for you in the future. And if you guys don't know what's this series about, so the absolute beginners is just for everyone that want to start with game development, specifically with the Unreal Engine, and have no idea where to start. So this series is going to help you grow in the right direction, and I hope you guys enjoy the videos. See you guys. So basically, data tables is something that we can use to store a couple of information on it. So it's literally, you can think of data table as a list or like an Excel list. So let's say you're creating items for your game. You want to store all those items in a safe place or in a database. You want to use, in that case, you probably want to use data tables. So the first thing I'm going to do here is in the third person here, I'm going to create a folder called test cube again. I'm going to right click in there, and I'm going to create an actor, right? So I'm going to create a BP cube color swap. Let's call this, right? Nice. And let's add a component here. Let's add a cube. All right. Nice. And what we're going to do here is dynamically, we're going to change the element, and but this is going to be controlled by the data asset. So when you first press play, if it has a certain color, if it has a certain option that we're going to create as a variable, it will change the color. Right, so let's close this for now. Actually, let's just drag this in the Word here for now. And then after, we can just get started with it, right? Nice. So normally the best place you can create any kind of a variable or data assets is to create actually a folder called, variables, and then you probably want to store information in this. So, but yeah, let's do this then. So let's open up this folder called variables. And now we're going to right click in here, and we're going to create a structure. So how can you create a structure? Really simple. We're going to right click in there. We're going to go to blueprint, and in here you see you have a structure, right? So click on this, and the structures normally they start with st, that means structure, and the name of it. So right now it's going to be cube color or something like this, right? So let's open up this, and in here we're going to create also, sorry, let me close this for now. Let's create an enum. That's actually what we're going to use in here to create the color or something. So in this way also you get introduced to what's an enum, right? So enum here is basically, let's create an enum first and then explain what it is. So enumeration, yeah? In blueprint, click enumeration. The enum starts with E, and let's call cube style or something like this, right? Let's go ahead and open up this. So let's create two colors. So we're going to create red, white, and let's create another one, maybe yellow. Not sure if we have a yellow material. Okay, nice. We can give some descriptions if you want. I do recommend to add descriptions if you have many enums, so you know what they are trying to achieve. But for this context, we're just going to leave it without. Right. So we got a cube style there. Let's open up our structure again, and then in here you're gonna see that we don't have much variables. So we're gonna create two variables in here. So the first one, we're gonna have the name, and in here we can use the name. And the next one, we're gonna use the style, and now we're gonna use our enum, right? So we're gonna search for E space cube, cube style, and then we're gonna select this. Okay. Now in the values, here's where you can set up default values. So by default, we're gonna just put red. And here we go. So we can close the enum. Nice. Now I'm gonna right click in here, and I am gonna go to the data, where is it? Miscellaneous. I'm gonna create a data table. And now the data table is gonna ask structure. So we have created this structure. So let's just put st cube color. Right. Press OK. It's going to create a new file, and this file we're going to call dt, that means data table, and cube colors and cube color. There you go. Nice. So I'm gonna open up this, and in here we have nothing yet. So in this page here is where you define your colors, like yellow, blue, whatever you need for your game. So I'm gonna add 3 here. I'm gonna add I'm gonna call the role name here red. Then the other one is white. And the last one is gonna be yellow. Okay, and then you can change the name to yellow if you want. Here's gonna be red, no, white, and the other one's red. To be fair, this name here, you're not gonna be using that much, but this is just an example how you can actually use this to kind of do something, right? Okay, nice. So we got our structure ready to be used. So if I go back now to the blueprints here, let's open up our test cube and let's add this variable in here. So what we want to do here is when you press start, depending on the color you have selected or something, it will change that cube color. How you can do this? It's very simple. So you're going to create a new variable, and this is going to be called the cube style, right? And we're going to make it public so it can be accessible. We're going to change the category to call style, right? And we're not going to worry about replication. And in here we're going to search for so we're going to search for data table row handle. That's the structure that we're looking for. Okay, so go ahead and select this data table row handle, and if I compile and save now, we should see some information in there. So here's going to ask what data table we're trying to access, right? So this is going to be the cube colors, right? And what's the default value? In this case, it's going to be red. So if I compile and save, by the default, it's going to be red. But right now, nothing happened because we haven't set up the logic, right? So I'm just going to create 2 cubes in there. Actually, create 3. Yeah, let's leave 3 here so we know what we're trying to do now, right? So if I select the first one here, the cube style, I'm going to set this to red. That's fine. The other one's going to be set to white, and the other one here is going to be set to yellow. I'm going to compile all. Let's save everything. Now we need to somehow read that data table and get what kind of information we try to set, right? So the best way to read the data table is we can get this here. We're gonna get the reference, the style. Okay, that's all I did here. Just get the style reference. I'm gonna call something called break data table structure. And in here we have the role name. So we're gonna use this. The role name, just to give you context, is this. That's what we selected. Now we need to somehow read my data table. So what we can do here is that we can call get table. Let's call data table row. There we go. So get data table row. If I connect those two, this is gonna know the name. And now in here is gonna ask the table, right? You can always plug it in there, that will work for sure, but sometimes it gets very tricky with the output here. So for those kind of stuff, I always like to create a specific function that get just like get the attributes or get something specific rather than just plug it in here. But you can do it this way if you want to. The only problem with this is that you don't know, this is going to be a wild card output. And in this case, we need a specific one, right? So let's go back here to the basics, right? In here, we're going to select the table that we want to do stuff. Right, so we're going to plug this here. I'm going to put it there, which is fantastic. I'm going to compile and save. And right now, on the row found, I'm going to just press print. And here, I'm going to break this. So I'm going to break the structure. And right now, you got the style. Remember the style? That's the enum that we have set up on the structure. So if I press play now, I should have yellow, white, and red. So yellow, white, and red. So yellow, white, and red. Okay. Now, how can we switch the cube colors? And how can we do this, right? So because we're using num here, we can call a function called switch on cube style. And in here, we can change the material of the cube based on the colors we have set up. So at this moment, you guys can see that we're very close to finish this, but this is really cool stuff, and I wish I knew this before when I started Unreal Engine, because once you know this, you can create very dynamic, object. You can create very randomized things, or even structure a game in a much better way, right? So let's go back in here. So now the only thing that we're gonna do is to change the material. So how we do this? So it's really simple. So I'm gonna get a cube here, and I'm gonna call set material. And the element is always 0. If you notice, 0 is the first element that we have there. And I'm gonna copy and paste here for those 3. Yeah. And sorry, connected that. And I'm just gonna plug it in there, just so we have the same material there. Cool. Now let's see if we can find material that we can use. Let's have a look in there. Go to general materials. Let's see if you can use any other kind of materials. It doesn't look like I can't. Let's check if you have any. Let's check the default materials here. There you go. So I got basic materials. Okay, so we're gonna create. Actually, let's use this one here. I know I'm spending some time here. Let's use this base material. Let's check if we can actually change the color. Yeah, we can change the color, which is great. So right click on this guy here, right? The MI solid blue. If you don't know where is this location, once again, just click on this cube here and browse to this. I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna create here a material instance, okay? And this one is gonna be red. I'm gonna create another instance here that's gonna be white, and I'm gonna create another instance in that it's gonna be yellow, right? Now, so when you open up the red one, let's change the base color to red. Okay. Now on the white, let's change this color to white. And on this one here, the yellow, same thing. Let's make sure is yellow, right? Save. Cool. Now what I'm gonna do here is I need to find the class, which I closed, but that's fine. I'm just gonna open up this third person cube that we have here. If you don't know where is this cube, the best way to do is just right click and press edit, and that takes you straight to the blueprint. Right. So as you can see here, what material do you want to use when it's red? So we got this, we can just paste this material there. Which one do you want to use when it's white? Paste it in here. And which one do you want to use for when it's yellow? And just paste this in there. Compile and save. There's another way you can search as well. You can just drop down here and then you can search in this box, but I always think is more easy if you just select the object here and then you just select in here, especially if you have 2 screens or a bigger screen. It's always easy to do that way. Now if I press play, I think that should work. As you can see, we got cubes with different color, and pretty much that's how we use data assets. So it's a very easy way to build consistent and make sure your game works in a better way. For example, you can also let's make this a little bit more dynamic. Okay, I'm gonna copy this code. I'm gonna unplug it here for now. Compile and save. I'm gonna open up the construction script, paste that code in here, and plug it in there. So watch out what happened when I press compile. So it runs straight away. Because the construction script, every time you put something on the scene, it will trigger this. So you can see your effects straight away. So, yep, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I see you in the next one.